Hello, hello, you fabulous interior design professional. Welcome to Business of Design. And today is a 2-4 celebration. First of all, it's Canada Day, right? Canada is 159 years old today, and by all accounts, stronger, smarter, and cooler than it's ever been. So proud to be a Canadian citizen. That description, though, also applies to a human being I adore. Today, bum, ba-da-da, is Kathy Seal's birthday. Who's Kathy Seal? She is my right hand and my left hand, and I'm going to tell you all about her. Even though those two things, Canada Day and Kathy's birthday, don't seem related, in my little monkey mind, I'm going to try to tie them together into this holiday episode. Can you tell I'm feeling celebratory? But first, Kathy, let's talk about Kathy. Kathy is, oh my God, I love this woman. She's hugely talented. Uh, it would make sense to have her on the podcast and she could tell you how she does all the million things she does for me so well. But Kathy is super shy and she really hates it when I shove a microphone or a camera in her face. And over the years, we've done so much media. I have tried so many times. I have practically given up. I have occasionally recorded her on a job site without her consent and then gotten permission to use a clip. Anyway, so you are stuck with me today describing Kathy's genius instead of hearing about it directly from her. I don't know why she's shy. Why is that? Always like the coolest, prettiest, most amazing people are shy. Anyway, the best way I can think to describe what Kathy means to my design firm in a way that you'll really understand is to tell you that she is the Cheryl Horn of my interior design business. Cheryl, as you know, is the blood, sweat, and tears of business of design. Nothing happens without Cheryl. Kathy does exactly that same thing for my interior design firm. She's the whole operation. She is all of that and more. And if you want to know how or why a business can look effortless from the outside, because I think sometimes we do, it's because someone like Kathy, someone like Cheryl, is making it effortless from the inside. So that is a very tall order, but that's what I want to unpack in this solo episode today. How to create a business that is thriving, it's profitable, it's wildly busy, but the client has the impression that everything is running seamlessly, or at least seamlessly for the most part. It kind of reminds me of the bike trips I go on. I love to do cycling trips. We do one every year. We do them either with Butterfield and Robinson or Backroads, and both are exactly the same. They have systems in place. So even though behind the scenes, your guides are working like crazy, taking phone calls, answering texts, staying on top of a million things, the experience you have as a cyclist is that everything's just a piece of cake and everything's so easy and it's super, super fun. And it doesn't seem that hard. But in fact, seamless is an infrastructure, right? And an infrastructure is just another way of saying there's a person who's following a system. I don't want to say systems because you might tune out. You're like, she's always talking about systems, but it's kind of the whole thing. So that person's working quietly behind every project moment. So the client only ever sees the finished product, never the 17 phone calls to find out why the tile isn't on the job site like it's supposed to be. I think every business that looks calm from the outside has someone on the inside who is absorbing the chaos or eliminating the chaos. But the important thing is it never reaches the client. And if you're a solo designer, and most interior design professionals are solo, right? You're doing both of those jobs. You're absorbing all the chaos and all the craziness that's coming at you, and you're still trying to look calm while you're doing it. That is really, really, really hard to sustain. We should talk about how to fix that, I think, right? Do you want to talk about how to fix that? I think that would be a good idea. But before we do, Speaking of a phenomenal woman, Cheryl Horn, quick announcements and we'll jump right into the episode.
Thanks, Kimberly. Before we get into today's episode, I want to take a moment to thank you for listening to the Business of Design podcast. Whether you've been with us for years or you've just discovered the show, we're grateful you're here. And we're especially grateful to those who have taken the next step and invested in your business through our programs. Your participation in Business of Design programs is what makes it possible for us to keep producing this podcast. For those who haven't taken the next step with us, here's something worth thinking about. Designers today are overwhelmed with information. Podcasts, books, courses, coaches. It's never been easier to learn. And it's also never been easier to mistake learning for progress. If you've been listening to this podcast for months or even years, but your business doesn't feel much different, it's probably because information alone doesn't create results. Implementation does. That's why implementation is at the heart of everything we do at Business of Design. Inside our signature programs, we don't just teach proven systems. We help you put them into practice through live monthly coaching, spot coaching when you need it, and ongoing accountability and support. We're with you every step of the way. We know we can help you transform your business in less than a year. But better yet, you'll start seeing results with the very first system you implement. If you're ready to stop collecting ideas and start building a more profitable, more organized, and more enjoyable design business, we'd love to help. Visit businessofdesign.com to learn more about our signature programs. And let's turn everything you're learning into lasting results. Thanks so much.
20 years ago, Kathy joined my interior design department. 20 years, okay? In an industry where designers churn through staff and freelancers and even trades and suppliers like it's a competitive sport. 20 years is like, I don't know, a geological era. Let's call it that. That's a long time. One of the things I love about Kathy was she takes on, and by the way, if you had a team, hopefully what you're hearing are things that you're looking for in the people who work for you. But when Kathy takes on an assignment, I never have to double check it. I don't need to circle back and make sure she did it. I don't lie awake wondering if something got done or if it got done well. I know it's going to get done and I know it's going to get done well. And if you've ever managed people, you know how unbelievably rare that can be, right? Most owners of small businesses, which is the majority of people who take training with Business of Design, are so conditioned to follow up and follow up and follow up and follow up and checklists and to-do lists and circling back and triple check. And they're doing everything themselves. And they forget, I think, or maybe they've never known how good it feels to fully exhale and trust that that person you hired is going to do the thing you need them to do. I'm going to be honest with you because this isn't a highlight reel. We don't always agree. And I don't think I need so much agreement from the team around me. I need them to think on their feet and make my ideas better because I don't always have the best idea. When I make a decision that Kathy doesn't agree with, oh my God, she totally lets me know. I tease her that her face has subtitles sometimes. She can push back pretty hard if she feels strongly, and I like that. And the truth is, I think she's right more often than she's wrong. In fact, she's probably right most of the time, but please don't tell her that. I've got to, maintain some of my status as her boss. I have learned to value her opinion and her judgment so much so that sometimes I just take her word for something, even if I'm not 100% sure that's the best path forward. I think, you know what? If Kathy thinks it's going to work, let's try it. And that is not a weakness on my part. That is what real trust looks like. It's not necessarily agreement. It's knowing whose instincts you're going to lean on for a particular problem and when you're going to lean onto those when you're going to lean on that other person's idea. Just like I want from my trades, from my contractor, from my plumber, I don't want them just to take instructions from me. I want them to think things through and give me better ideas. I want them to delegate up, meaning I want them to tell me I'm going to need this thing from you in order to get my job done. You don't want to hear that at the last minute. You want to hear that early. I think the ability to delegate up is a really important skill. And I don't think it's something that we talk about enough. It takes a lot of self-awareness to know your limitations and your ceiling. And I think it takes courage to push back and say to your boss, for example, nope, that job's yours, not mine. I've got this and this and this. I need you to do that so I can complete the following things. You know Daniel House Club. They help designers like us all over North America elevate their businesses. A procurement resource where every single one of us has a dedicated concierge to act as our back-of-house logistics partner. Daniel House Club safeguards its members' creative time by managing unified sourcing across more than 200 brands. From the moment your project begins until its successful completion, Daniel House Club handles the operational friction so you can focus on design and increase your margins while you're at it. And now you can spare yourself an even greater headache when you work with a Daniel House Club concierge to specify custom and semi-custom pieces. Consult with your concierge and receive 15% off your first custom order from exceptional custom upholstery lines like Wesley Hall, Rowe, Thayer Coggin, Ambella Home, Massoud, Theodore Alexander, and so many more. Business of Design is one of Daniel House Club's most trusted partners and provides the very best price available on club memberships. Visit danielhouse.club/BOD, all lowercase, to apply today. Use code BOD2026 to save on your signature membership. You'll be so glad you did. Of course, 20 years working with someone has made both of us more efficient at our jobs. We've learned a lot. But when you're hiring someone, no matter who that is, you want to make sure that person owns the task, and they can't do that if you don't have those systems written down. They need to be able to tackle the job completely and free you up so you can focus on the things that you're good at, that are high value tasks that are going to really matter to your business. That can mean marketing and networking. And in my case, I will follow up with past clients and go for lunch, go for dinner. I stay in those relationships long after the invoice is paid. Media appearances are really important to me because that visibility builds my brand, and I need to do that. I need to make sure that I'm always filling that pipeline, and I need to show up at consultations, and I need to sell not just myself, but I need to sell my team. I need to close the deal so the project is ours. I also take on the task of leading design direction and the artistic point of view. And that's probably true for you too, because clients are probably hiring you for your aesthetic, part of why they're hiring you. And then I do the sourcing and selecting of the majority of the items for the project. I don't price them. I don't check the timelines. I don't measure to see that they'll fit, but I make those selections and then I pass them off to my team. All of those tasks are important for moving my business forward. And it means that I'm not working 24/7. Those are all the things in my lane. I mean, everything else is in Kathy's lane, honestly. We do have other people that we use sometimes, and Kathy delegates. But when it comes to job site management, the execution of 1,000 decisions and phone calls and problems being solved, etc., that falls on someone else. I bet if you tried to make a list of everything that you do in a day, you would run out of pages before you ran out of tasks. And my guess is about 75% of those could be passed to someone else who could do them just as well, or, spoiler alert, better. I think it's something you want to think about if you're considering building an interior design team, not a team of trades or team of vendors, but rather your internal team of designers. And delegation really does mean handing off most of the tasks. Some of them are boring, so that's easy, right? Some are technical, like I can't draw, I can't do AutoCAD or even SketchUp. I'm useless. Some, though, are not boring at all, and they're relatively easy for you to do, and you're good at them. You might even enjoy them. But if they are not a high value task and someone else could do it, there are only so many hours in a day. So let someone else do it. That's not losing money for your business because you're going to bill clients for those professionals, right? And we talk about how exactly you bill the clients. I think to really be good at delegation, though, you have to have discipline. And I mean, how do you survive in this business without incredible discipline, right? You have to be able to identify your highest value activities, the things that only you specifically can do that are really important to move the business forward. And then in my case, I had to have the courage to let the other stuff go. And I had to have the fortitude to create the systems. So when I handed those things off, my team knew what they were supposed to do. Thankfully, the systems are created now. You're welcome to them. Just come to Business of Design. Your time as the owner of the business, as the face of the business, is worth a lot more in a client consultation or a design team meeting than it is standing around on every job site resolving questions about tile or, where the latest drawing package, etc. Kathy's time, meanwhile, or, your right hand person's time is worth a lot more on the job site. First of all, Kathy is way better at project management than I am. I have a bad habit of glossing over things and not wanting to get into the details. Kathy's like in there wanting to know every single thing about what's going on, asking questions. I mean, the R value of the insulation. I'm like, insulation, great, done. Kathy's like, what's the R value? 20 is not high enough. We're looking for 24. My brain doesn't work like that. So she's amazing at running a job site. And I'm telling you right now, if you're an interior design professional and you're thinking about poaching my Kathy, I swear on my life, I will come for you. You will not want this in your life. So don't even think about it. And I am not joking. No. About 10 years ago, Kathy became an independent contractor. We didn't start out that way. We started out more conventionally, the employer and employee relationship. And if I'm honest, that shift required us to build kind of a whole new rhythm together. It meant new boundaries, new expectations, a new way of communicating and structuring the work. And I thought it was going to be really hard. I didn't want to do it. I was terrified to do it. Cheryl actually helped me go forward and make that switch. She was instrumental in that. The truth is, making the switch wasn't nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be, probably in part because there was already a really strong foundation of trust between me and all the people I switched over. But it is worth saying out loud, I think, because some of you might be in this position soon or you're thinking about it now. Should I make the transition? How is it different? What should I do? And the answer is, if you want to know if it can be done, the answer is yes. Can it be done fairly smoothly? Yes. Can it be done without blowing up relationships that you've already developed as an employer? Absolutely. An independent contractor will set their own hours and they will have some of their own clients too. And in Kathy's case, this is all true. And her clients that work directly with her are lucky to have her. If it sounds perfectly seamless, it wasn't. But like I said, it wasn't nearly as difficult, I think, as I had imagined. Imagining it was much worse. So making the switch from employee and employer to independent contractor, of course, helped because we already had this strong relationship. We had a decade of already working together and gaining clarity and all that kind of stuff. But it can also work with brand new people, and it shouldn't take you a decade to build trust. If you have your systems written down, somebody should be able to start working immediately and start earning and generating money for you immediately. It can be a lot a lot simpler. I think it's really important, and I didn't think this initially, to clarify your roles. Don't have a lot of crossover. In other words, I don't do project management and Kathy does project management. That's her wheelhouse. Um, I don't choose fabrics and somebody else chooses fabrics. That's on me. So you want to clarify rules. I think that's really important so everybody knows what part of the job they own. And I think setting clear expectations is huge, which means you may have to have some challenging conversation. You know, if your needs don't match the needs of the independent contractor, you might have to figure out how to have another person who can fill in the gaps. There is always a solution. Kathy and I have never had trouble figuring it out, but it definitely took a little getting used to. You know, when you're used to having employees at the office and you could just go, I need this by Tuesday. And everybody goes, okay, boss, that's great. Now you have to go, hey, how busy are you? Can you get this ready for me by Tuesday? And they might say no. Um, if you're considering hiring someone, whether it's an employee or an independent contractor, there's no fast track to trust. For sure, trust is something that gets built one delivered result at a time. Let's put it that way. One delivered result at a time. That is true for the team you're growing trust with. It's true for clients as well. I don't trust my new clients at all. That's why I have very strict rules about how projects will run, what kind of deposits I take up front, when I give the retainer back. When clients comply with the rules and systems I have in place, they build trust with me. And I know that I do the same with them. I build trust with them when I do everything I say I'm going to do. If I say, you'll hear from me on Friday, then I will definitely make sure that I talk to them on Friday. You know, getting the right team around you, man, it's everything, right? It is the difference between showing up for another week of work and loving your career. I know I have said this before, but I was absolutely 100% unable to keep any staff until I fully accepted responsibility for every single system or a lack of system. And that was mostly what I had, a lack of systems in my office, 100% on me. And you probably know this, but I wonder if you have fully embraced it yet. That's what we teach at Business of Design. It is business training. It's different than coaching. I'm not a therapist, although I do think it's bloody helpful to talk to somebody who knows what they're talking about and can fast track me toward a solution. We teach people how to run the business specifically. We teach people how to run projects. It's training, right? It's solutions. It is, it is a process for solving all the problems that plague interior design firms. And there are so many. How do you figure out your own highest value activities? How do you hire someone? How do you delegate without white knuckling every handoff? How do you build a team dynamic that works where the people around you are actually taking ownership of the work that they do and therefore taking work off your plate instead of adding to it? Please don't tell them. I'm sure they know this. Kathy and Cheryl both work way harder than I do. And that is not an accident. That was a decision I made and a system I built into place. And you know, if you're still the only person in your business who can be trusted to get it right, that is fixable. It is fixable. And it starts with some training, some professional business training, which is at Business of Design. So the podcast, I hope, gets you thinking and shares some insights, but Business of Design content, man, oh man, that is the blueprint. If I say blueprint, does that age me? Sure it does. Do you guys know what a blueprint is? It is the plan. It is the architecture plan that will allow you to build the business you thought you were going to launch back in the day, right? But here you are, not doing quite everything you want to do. I'm telling you, we can make it happen for you so quickly. And speaking of getting my time back, were we talking about that? I think we were. As I said, it's Canada Day while I'm recording this podcast. And I spent a huge chunk of today, 3 hours, walking a job site with my contractor and a few of his team. And before y'all accuse me of being a workday holiday hypocrite, right? Because I'm always saying I don't work weekends, I don't work evenings, which is true. Hear me out. All right. My schedule is so flexible, honestly. It just happened that today we weren't doing anything, and we're up at the cottage, and these clients live super nearby, and the contractor had a big old window that I could grab immediately, and it just worked out. Clients are out of town, and we had the place to ourselves, and it was just amazing. Do not feel bad for me because I'm taking the rest of the week off. I truly don't struggle with work-life balance anymore. But I do know what that feels like. And I'm telling you right now, if you have little kids, and you're doing the majority of work around your house and all that kind of stuff, for sure you're going to struggle with work-life balance. But know this, it's not going to correct itself. You're going to have to do the things that are required for your business to run more smoothly, right? More control over my time, super gift. I got to say, love it, love it. And that luxury doesn't happen by accident either. So happy birthday to Canada, and happy birthday to Kathy, and to everyone else who's listening. I hope you have someone you can rely on in your life. And I hope that you will continue to allow all of us at Business of Design to be part of your success story, because you matter a lot to us. And I think the work we do is really hard. Even now, I think the work we do is hard, but it's also super rewarding. And I want that for you too. I'm so glad I got to spend this time with you. Happy birthday, Canada. Happy birthday, Kathy.